and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tarani. Thanks for watching us today. On our program is Dan McBride, who's the Director of Product Marketing at Stoke. Dan, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How you doing, Rich?
Great, thanks for being on our program.
Thank you for having me.
So you want to give us the overview of your company?
Sure. What Stoke is doing is really approaching the mobile broadband challenges in a slightly different way. What we're typically finding in the marketplace is both the network equipment providers and the carriers themselves, the mobile operators themselves, seem to be sort of pegged at looking at increasing or enhancing their 3G network, as well as looking at how they're going to transition to LTE. From our perspective, and from the operators that we're dealing with on an individual basis, they seem to be stuck in sort of legacy planning, legacy thinking is sort of how we're describing it. And what we're trying to help them do is to cross over that business, to be able to manage the challenges that are occurring in mobile broadband with respect to the wild growth in traffic, with new solutions and new ways of looking at the problem to deliver new solutions for them.
So when I think of legacy, I think of T1. And when I think of new, I think of technologies like, let's say, Metro Ethernet and those sorts of things.
All of those things come into play. Stoke offers a transformation platform that is a gateway device that will sit into the mobile operator network somewhere between the edge of the core of the network, and the actual end user themselves. So from that location, we're involved in helping operators offload traffic faster to the internet. We're actually, the benefit of that is the reduction in the need for capacity in the network, whether it's from the radio access network, whether it's from the backhaul network as you describe, or in the core network itself.
Okay, so typical wireless carrier, they deploy your solutions. What are some of the pains that you take away for them?
Depending on the solution, there's a variety of answers for that. I can take one particular example.
Give us all the pain you take away. Let's talk about eliminating pain for carriers.
The current pain, as you know, is that as mobile broadband data traffic is growing sort of exponentially. The old planning, the legacy planning, did not take into account that this explosive growth was going to happen. So they have pain in their radio access network. They have trouble meeting the capacity demand, as well as being able to justify and afford the capacity expansion required. There is pain in the backhaul network, and that is simply carrying the bits back to where they need to be processed. And then in the core network, they have network elements that were designed for a different era, can't handle the capacity, and they need to continually multiply the number that they're offering, that they deploy. And what Stoke is able to do in all of its solution capabilities is provide them alternate means to deal with each of these pain points. For example, by helping a wireless LAN attached user gain access to the similar set of services that the mobile user could get when they're connected to the macro radio network, we're enabling the operator to deploy and offer wireless LAN or Wi-Fi, for example, as an alternative radio access. And Stoke further can help.
That's as opposed to femto, so we're talking about?
In this particular example, as opposed to femto, okay. But our solution is deployed today with NTT Docomo in a femtocell solution. So as a gateway that sits in front of the core network, we're also able to help operators use a femtocell deployment to help offload the radio access network or particular cells within the radio access network. A third example is with what we call mobile data offload, and this simply helps to divert traffic away from the expensive mobile data core, reducing the capacity requirements and reducing the number of elements required in the mobile core.
So it sounds like a lot of pain you're taking away there.
We're pain-free, yes.
So in terms of return on investment, because obviously there's cost here, and you've got carriers who are in an interesting quandary. They've got, depending on the carrier and the pricing, in some instances they've got fixed or reduced data charges that they can charge customers, and then you've got increased total aggregate demand by those same customers. So how do you fit into that arena and help?
By effectively helping reduce the cost per bit for all of those customers. So I think you've seen in the marketplace certainly that the move away from fixed fixed rate plans
Sure.
is beginning to occur. But it's going to take a long time. And in the meantime, the traffic continues to grow. So the best possible answer that operators have is to try to reduce the amount of cost for every bit so that that flat level of income, since the number of subscribers isn't growing a great deal, that sort of the flat growth of their data revenues is bringing more margin dollars to the operator. So reducing the cost of delivering the bits is the key.
Makes a lot of sense, and it's certainly something that wireless carriers have to deal with.
Definitely.
Now, wired ones as well, actually, because that growth in wired broadband hasn't slowed down either. So moving on, what is something we can expect from your company going forward? And this will probably be my last question. So just please tell us where you'll be in the next few years in terms of products.
So a good question. There's a couple things that we're fairly excited about. Number one, we'll be deployed in a commercial LTE network come the end of the calendar year. That's already been announced by NTT Docomo. That is their target for delivery. We have also announced that we're selected as part of that LTE services platform, as Docomo describes it. We'll be hitting a very significant business growth milestone that we'll be announcing in about a month's time. And that is a significant number, size of our business, or growth in our business that we'll be able to announce in the August timeframe. And then we'll also be articulating our transformation platform, our business crossover thinking that's relevant to the LTE marketplace sometime in the fall. So as much as we've described that operators and the network equipment providers, the incumbent providers, are stuck in a legacy thinking mode for 3G networks, there's some signs that that's already beginning to occur in the LTE environment. And Stoke is going to bring its business crossover thinking to LTE solutions as well.
Oh, it's very exciting. And I should just mention for the viewers that today's July 13th, 2010, just to put this all in perspective for them.
Right.
So, well, thank you so much for being on the program, and good luck with your future plans.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.